the best things in my life came out from the most tragic thing was when I became a single mom and had sole custody of my son and realized I was going to be doing it all alone. That horrible event got me out of a situation that I probably would have never had the courage to get myself out of. And most of all, I got the lesson that God gives us huge gifts through very sad things sometimes. So I would say my faith and just every obstacle I faced, I just viewed it as directional signage.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Nancy, and welcome to the She Laughs podcast. Sit down with me while I chat and get personal with some insanely cool women as they share their smarts and their hearts. God gave us each unique gifts, and we got to use them. Inside each one of us is a cool girl. So buckle up. Let's get vulnerable. Let's get real, and let's laugh.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the show. And I'm super excited today to have one of my dearest friends on. Meredith Walker's here in the house today. Hi, Meredith. Welcome.
Hi, Nancy.
Okay, before we start, guys, I've just got to read a little bit about her so that why she's so amazing and all the things that she's done. It's incredible. It's crazy. Okay. She has been named the executive director of the Texas Business Hall of Fame in 2018. Before joining Texas Business Hall of Fame, Meredith served as the executive director of the Heart Research Support Foundation and HRI Foundation. She is the former senior director of development at the Texas Heart Institute in Houston and former associate director of development at the James A. Baker III Institute for Public Policy at Rice University. Before pursuing her career in development, Meredith served as a district legislative aide to Senator Rodney Ellis and as a senior program coordinator for the Center for the Global South. She holds an MA in International Economic Policy from American University in Washington, D.C., and a BA from Texas A&M University College Station. And besides that, she is just the coolest girl ever, y'all. And Meredith, I've got to tell the story really quick of how we met. Are you?
Oh, yeah. No, I remember.
Okay. So, y'all, we were at a cocktail reception?
Yeah.
Yeah. That you were hosting, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it was in Houston for Janet Gerwit, right? For Texas Business Hall of Fame. And I got invited to go by a mutual friend of ours. And I saw you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt, and Meredith knows this story because we've laughed about it, but I was like, I have to know this girl. I'm supposed to know this girl. Like, I just knew I had to know her. And so we were introduced and I think somehow exchanged numbers. I don't know. Realized we had some mutual friends in common. And then we sat down together for the first time and it was like, and we just talked and didn't stop. And I'm just so grateful for her and her friendship and excited for y'all to hear about her. She's just one of those cool girls that can talk on any topic that looks good, just rolling out of bed and can do anything. She's just amazing. I just look up to her so much. So anyway, Meredith, welcome today to the show. I'm so happy you're here. Yeah. I dragged her kicking and screaming.
Whatever. But she doesn't have opportunity to talk.
You do. And she's so great. Okay. Y'all know this show is about incredible women who've overcome incredible things and insurmountable odds and obstacles. And it just have grit and perseverance and faith to push through. And Meredith has that in spades. So I would love for you to start. Let's start at the very beginning. No, kidding. Start where you got married and start there because I feel like that's where, your life started to, your grown-up adult life started to, and your faith and everything that was coming your way started coming your way. The avalanche was about to come.
Okay. I got married very young. I was 22 and I had just graduated from Texas A&M. I got married to my college sweetheart, and we moved to DC for my graduate work and for his pre-veterinary work. And long story short, we spent a couple years in DC and we ended up moving to northeastern Canada for his veterinary school as soon as I was done with my graduate work. At the time,
That is crazy. That is so far.
it was far, but at the time it was so appealing because I had been working 4 jobs and going to graduate school all at the same time, simultaneously.
What were the 4 jobs? I didn't know that part.
So I was a teaching assistant. I was a researcher at an emissions trading firm. I was an editor to an economics type journal, and I was a researcher at another think tank in DC called the Woodrow Wilson.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You're spinning these 4 plates and y'all decide to move to Canada.
pregnant, and I'm pregnant.
Oh, and you're pregnant. Yes.
That was a surprise. And I was pregnant. I moved when I think I was like 7 months pregnant, 7 or 8 months pregnant. And we get to Canada. It's such a breath of fresh air after being in the rat race and
Right.
and I'm ready to finish my thesis and teach at the university there as an adjunct. I was hoping to do that. And I have
What
my
are you going to
son-
teach? I'm curious.
I was to teach something on the Middle East. I think at the time it was like something very relevant. It was very right after September 11th. And
Oh, okay. And the pool girl.
I had
No.
worked for the ambassador from the Arab League in Washington, D.C. I was very interested in the kind of blurry lines between governance and terrorism and things like that. That's what I was going to teach on.
I love how you just say those big things because
Well, at the time, and this is even a more controversial thing to say now, some of the terrorist organizations in the Middle East, like Hamas and Hezbollah and all the terrorist organizations you hear about today, they had terrorist arms back then, but they also had huge social impact. There wouldn't have been schools, there wouldn't have been hospitals in some areas of the Middle East without these organizations. So in a time when the United States was trying to put different people in silos, and it was important to do so for reasons of national security, like it was complicated. So anyway, that's what I was interested in way back
you're in
then.
your early 20s when most people are not thinking this is a very heavy thing. Like,
Was
wow.
a very heavy. I've always been a very heavy person, but that world to me now seems very far away. Anyway, I had my.
was like an international spy girl, but that's a whole nother.
That was why I went to DC because I wanted to go to work for the CIA, and that was my intent, and it was my husband's intent.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes, he was being recruited as well because oddly they look for veterinarian, and
Why?
we didn't get that far, but it's a very good cover. I don't know. So I wanted to be in operations. I wanted to focus on the Middle East. American was a very good school for that. At the time, it was known as like kind of the top CIA school. And I had a mentor at Texas A&M had been the former head of operations in Moscow for the CIA, and he had encouraged me to do this. Long story short, after September 11th, my husband said, no way am I moving to the Middle East. I also was getting apprehensive for a variety of reasons. So I shifted gears into economics.
Okay.
But it still was a topic really near and dear to me. And I still have a huge heart for that area of the world that I don't pretend to understand it as well as I used to.
Oh, that's so cool, Meredith.
Oh, I'm really good at making it sound cooler than I was like a gopher who like read
It
our.
is so cool. Yeah. Anyway, we all know it is. You keep talking. Yeah.
Okay. I had my son, and right about that time, my marriage fell apart, and I was in Prince Edward Island, which most people have never heard of, except Red and of Green Gables. Are they PEI blue mussels at restaurants? The tiny little island.
Wait, so is this
North of Nova Scotia.
back?
What?
We're still in Canada or you're back in the States? Okay.
Yes, the guy who delivered my son also delivered animals.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay. We've got a good story.
And anyway, it's a beautiful, idyllic place. And needless to say, I was living on a little farm, and my son's father left when he was a little over a month old, and probably
Wow.
around 2 months old. And I became his sole custodian. And it was my time to figure out what I was going to do next, whether I was going to go back to DC, whether I was going to go to Texas. I ended up going to Texas. But the best part of what really happened there, and I think why the universe or God brought me there, was I was in
Canada. We're still
Canada.
okay.
Yeah.
Little Anne of Green Gables town.
Yes.
And so
yeah.
your husband left.
Yeah.
And you have the baby, or you're still pregnant?
I have the baby. He's 2 months
Which
old.
is your son now, who's
who's now 22.
Yeah, precious.
And I had not talked to anyone on the island. I was not friends with anyone on the island. I still was in this I'm smarter than everyone mode. See ego, pretending like I had a really important resume, etc. And I did not realize when my ex-husband left, he left in a U-Haul in the snow, and the snow up there, as you can imagine, is incredible. So people saw him trying to get this U-Haul out of the snow, I guess. I didn't realize people saw him, but there were some farms around our farm.
Okay.
And this woman shows up on my doorstep afterwards in the snow, and I recognized her because she was a nurse at the hospital who I had not been very friendly to. Who had tried to be very friendly.
So you had not been friendly too.
Oh, I mean, my mom was there. She claims I was very unfriendly. I was probably just grumpy, had a baby. I don't know. But
Right.
I was, again, not trying to make any friends. And her name was Sarah, and she showed up on the door at my doorstep and said, "We saw you haul leaving. Is everything okay?" At that point, I break down. It's all hitting me. I'm going to be raising this little boy alone, whatever. She lived next door. Her husband was a preacher. She was a nurse. His name was Mark, and they ended up.
These are farms. I hate to interrupt you, but these are farms.
Yeah.
So that it's not like you walk out your door and you're waving. You're right next to your neighbor and you're talking to them. Right.
They're 5 to 10 acres apart, probably.
Okay. And the sweet preacher's wife comes to the door.
Yes. And we had 4 kids of her own, or 3 kids, 4 kids. Now I'm like getting blurry. But she started coming and helping me because I didn't know how to drive in the snow, not that kind of snow. I was scared to go out to the grocery store. So she helped arrange for farmers to plow my driveway nearby and bring me formula, diapers. And also she would come over and she'd spend the night one night or allow me to go take a nap because with a newborn, you don't get any sleep.
No, and your hormones are bonkers everywhere. And you're all by yourself in this very idyllic, beautiful,
lonely place.
Oh, please, foreign place with a baby. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Christ, this is amazing.
So Sarah became a very good friend of mine, and we have lost touch, but I will say her impact on me is that I was raised in a very religious home. I had really gotten away from that. And Sarah never preached to me, never encouraged me to go to church. I started going with them just because it was my way of getting out. But it was through her example and her husband's example that I really became a person of faith. And it's
why do you think you got away from it, Meredith? I'm curious. I
was raised in, I don't know what people have different versions of fundamentalism. I was raised in a megachurch, a Baptist megachurch, and I didn't agree with everything, all the rules of the church. I didn't like religion. I still don't like religion.
A lot of people feel that way for sure.
Yeah. And I definitely still believed in God, but I don't know if I would have. I don't think I understood the spirit of Christ and that servant heart until Sarah and Mark, because I never had someone show me. My parents were very loving, wonderful people, but I've never had strangers show me that kind of kindness. I couldn't even fathom where that came from, particularly how exhausting their own lives were.
Yeah.
And the way they took me in and took care of us, I'm so sad that we lost touch because it was before the days of social media.
Yeah.
And
really before cell phones weren't even there. But cell phones had just...
I didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I will always be grateful for that experience. I have never been back to the island. My son and he's graduated from college. I'm planning on taking him this summer to see where he was born. I can't wait. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So back up. So Sarah came and she would bring you soup and bring you to church. And then what happened why'd you leave? And did you leave feeling like, okay, I'm back. I know God's back in my life? Did you cry when you left? Did you just go?
Left. My parents had to force me to leave. They
I
kind of we're getting you off this island. No, how when you're in a painful spot, you don't want to see people that knew you. You don't want to explain to people that you're divorced.
Yes.
You want to have a baby on your hip with no husband to be seen. And they're friendly enough for coming to help you move. When they got there, I had not packed a thing. Oh, and they drove me home in the biggest snowstorm the Northeast had seen in
Oh my gosh.
years or something. It was a trip from hell. But anyway, I had decided to go back to Texas temporarily to kind of get the divorce behind me, for my parents to help me with the baby for a month or two until I could get back to DC. And anyway, life just took me in a different direction. And I ended up staying in Houston, and the rest is history, and it all worked out.
Okay. So once you get back
Uh-huh.
in Houston, you've done all kinds of things that I just read to everybody. But for you, now you've got, and for those listening, the Texas Business Hall of Fame is no shrinking violet of an organization. The people that it highlights are really incredible humans, and for the most part, very well known for what they've done. And Meredith Interface, she's running this whole show, even though she won't say that she is. She is. And and I've been to one of her events, y'all, and it is amazing how she puts all of these people together to thank them really for what they've done and highlight what is the purpose of it. It's all just very heady stuff, because these are like Kendra Scott and the Bucky's man and
Eve Applin.
thank you. And Taylor Sheridan and the late Alan Dreeben, who I love so much. And
He's wonderful.
and then Kit Wolsbury, who's fabulous. All these people who've done incredible things. And it's to honor them, right? And to inspire others. But you also give scholarships. Am I right on that?
We do. We give grants to veterans and college students, a few high school students, and now even a few teachers, one thanks to Alan Dreeben, who are entrepreneurial, who we think, the people we honor every year, like some of the people you mentioned. We fund people and bring them into our network, people who we think will one day be hugely successful and that will embrace that success as a responsibility to help other people. And that's who we honor. And that's kind of what sets our praise apart. There's a couple things you can't pay to play in our organization. You're elected by peers, which is a huge deal.
That is, man. Yeah.
But also, you can't just be enormously wealthy. You have to have used your wealth in a transformational way, whether it's to transform an industry, transform your community, both, economic sector, whatever. So the people we put on our stage, truly, we use the word transformational, but usually in every capacity of that term, that they represent that.
And what do you find is if there's one common denominator among all of these incredible achievements, other than them all being in Texas, right? Or do they have to be from Texas?
They don't have to be from Texas. They have to have been here for at least 5 years. And we have had a few exceptions of people who don't live in Texas, like Warren Buffett.
Okay.
That's very rare. His market's huge in Texas, and that we made an exception there. But typically, they have to have residence here.
Okay. But other than that, what is the one character trait that you find is a common denominator for all of these insanely, I'm just curious, successful people?
All of them are curious people. All of them are people who ask a bunch of questions. Most of them are life learners. Even if they don't read a lot, they're typically know what's going on, but most of them are readers. And I would say all of them show up. And that's didn't your parents always say 99% of life is showing
up? Yes.
The Texas Business Hall of Fame used to never partner with other organizations in any of its programming. And we've started doing some sort of outward facing programming where we have other partners that host events with us when we have a speaking event. And I've noticed that they get nervous about speakers being late or not showing up. I've been in the show for 7 years.
People, honorees get nervous.
Yeah, or that kind of, because we always pull speakers from our network. And I've gotten so spoiled because I never worry about that in my job because I don't work with anyone who doesn't show up. Like if they say they're going to be somewhere, they're not only there, they're typically early. We just hosted an event with Mark Cuban, who's one of our prized inductees a couple weeks ago in Dallas, 10 minutes early. And also drives himself, shows up.
Yep.
But there's nothing put on.
Value in that. But you're right. The people who I have my mentor who I'm so grateful to and I think mentors just happen when you're like, I didn't.
There's all these mentoring programs, but the best mentors just happen.
Yeah, just, I don't know, just organically, right? And I cannot tell you how much I've learned from him just by observing him and how he shows up. Because if he says he's going to call me at 2, he calls me at 2. If he's running behind for whatever reason, because he's just mentoring me out of the goodness of his heart, but he has a big job and big things to do. He said, immediately text me. I will be a few minutes behind. I'm so sorry. I'm still trapped in this meeting. But it's always he shows up and or follows up, even when he doesn't need to. He follows up, and so just by observing him, I've realized the importance of that.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
And it's unusual, unfortunately, in this day and age.
I know. It is.
Yeah.
And that transfers into everything, whether it's parenting or dating or whatever it is, which I do want to congratulate Meredith on the show today in front of everybody because she's newly engaged. And that's super exciting.
Very exciting.
I'm so happy for her and for him too. He's fantastic. And I'm really happy for the both of you, y'all. She is just so amazing as a friend and as a leader. I would love for you to tell everybody through your life as a mom, as a single mom, as somebody who's had to go it alone with a child. For you, what was the hardest part of being alone during that? And was your faith something that got you through? Or for those listening, look, there's a lot, as y'all know, there's a lot of women out there who the Christmas card, they look great, their holiday card, the happy family, they're all there, got the dog, they're on a trip, there's snow, everything looks idyllic, and it's not. And so a lot of women are afraid and lonely, even though they may be within a marriage, or they're single and they've got children, or they don't even have children. They're just single and alone. How have you pushed through that on those hard nights or those holidays or whatever it is where you found yourself feeling really lonely?
I had a great network of friends. I had a very close family, and I'm incredibly close to my sister. And I had my work that I was passionate about. That was my outside of sun time, was work. I wasn't I've never been someone to go out a lot or anything like that. So I was typically always at home with him if I wasn't working. And friends would come to me, they'd hang out with me, or I'd be on the phone or whatever. So and I dated some, and there was a remarriage during that period too, a very brief one. But anyway, I think that my faith definitely, one thing that was important is my son and I went to church together every single week. And we prayed together, and I did what my parents did with me. I let it go when he got to high school and did not push him. Right. And I said, you make your own decisions. He actually ended up going to a different church than me. But then he, like most college kids, stepped away from church, but he's back going. And
yeah, that is typical.
He's kept his faith in place. I always believed that a really huge blessing came out of the best things in my life came out from the most tragic thing, which was what I thought the most tragic thing was when I became a single mom and had sole custody of my son and realized I was going to be doing it all alone. that horrible event got me out of a situation that I probably would have never had the courage to get myself out of. It also led me to working for a former Secretary of State that, and having experiences through that job that I would have never gotten in DC working for 20 years. And that's really
Right.
the experiences I got working for Secretary Baker was what I really wanted going to DC. And I found that in Houston with the support of my family. I got to travel the world. I got to see things and meet people that I would have never gotten to meet otherwise. And most of all, I got the lesson that God gives us huge gifts through very sad things sometimes. So when
Then God gives us very huge gifts through very sad.
Yes. So when I had challenges with my son, usually they were directional signage, although that's really easy to say now in high school. I almost had he was in high school and nearly had a nervous breakdown. But yeah, God, I would say my faith and just every obstacle I faced, I just viewed it as directional signage.
Directional signage. Chelsea, how cool she is. Who's that? It's like, she's just
Probably got it out of a book.
Still, you remembered it. I read something, I'm like, wait, what?
Book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacles Away. We talked about it.
And you gave it to me.
Yeah.
But I would show y'all, but I moved last week. So my place, it's like somebody just a snow globe that you shook and threw at the wall. But it is sitting, I'll show you after this. It is sitting right there on my little
ottoman. Yeah, for livestock.
I love it. And it makes me think of you. Yeah. But I didn't remember that part, but I love that. And I agree. So, you've lived a life that really could be on a TV show. You're in this snow in Canada, in this beautiful, almost postcard looking place.
Yeah.
Son of a drive in a U-Haul. The preacher's wife from the farm feels very Hallmarky, but without the cute guy whose car breaks down outside in a flannel shirt.
I know.
Well, instead it's your parents driving. But the point is that what I am hearing you say is God brought you back through that to him and took care of you and Wyatt.
And he showed me the beauty of people and how you meet other people.
Yeah.
Because living in DC, you quickly begin to believe you don't need anything or need other people. You don't trust other people. Everyone has an agenda. So he used that whole experience to reshape the way I saw my future and the values I put in my son. And I think my son has definitely had challenges, and he definitely views them as springboards. I think that
That's awesome.
Like all of us, we can get crushed by them, but then he gets right back up and looks for the lesson.
Resilient. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's so impactful too. Like you said, she didn't come over with standing on your porch with the Bible's quoting scripture. She showed you by example. She was the hands and feet of Jesus. And to me, that is always really the most impactful way to show somebody is that preaching, but to act it out like that.
The power of example.
Yeah.
And really that's what I do now, right? I hold up examples. And I hope that we show their example in a light that inspires other people to be better.
Meredith, I just love you so much. I love that. And that is what the show is about, to really inspire other women to go, because we are bombarded by social media and the movies and Hollywood, and everything is, we tend to think everybody's so perfect, and the world can be very seductive. And what you've done as you've overcome without succumbing to the world, and you found your faith and solid and raised this great kid and have this great job, and you're just a badass doing all this. And I know you don't think you are, but
I look like I have it all together.
You do.
But like everyone, I don't.
No, well, that's what's so beautiful about it, because none of us do. But really, we're all in this world. You will have trouble. Everybody will.
Yeah.
It's how you dig deep and have the grit to push through and to trust him. And like you said, sometimes that's so hard. And we've all been there, sleepless nights. And are you even really real nights, right? And so I just so inspired by you and love you and so excited for you and your next chapter for you and Steve. I just think it's so great.
I'm very excited too.
No.
Yeah.
More. Yeah. Is there anything any knowledge you want to impart that you haven't already?
I'm trying to think about that. I don't really believe I have much knowledge to impart. And maybe that's what I have to impart. But the most together I've ever felt is when I accepted that my life wasn't together. And I think we've talked before. I think my church did something on the 12 steps of recovery.
Yeah.
I'm big into recovery personally. And I think that first step of accepting your life's unmanageable and really understanding that the solution is never inside your own head. The minute I start thinking of solutions in my head, if I think of the amount of time in my life I've wasted thinking of a solution and stewing on something, it's never there. I pick up the phone and try to be of service to someone else or just do something to get myself out of my head. And it's just so weird how then the solution presents itself. I can't think of any time in the past 10 years that I've actually gotten a solution from my own brain.
Gosh, that is so true.
It's in my brain, but it comes from someone doing something, conversation, or a God moment or something. Like it's never inside. And I think I thought it was for a real long time.
Oh, for sure. I think we all do. And so that is so good for people to hear. It's really when you slow down and surrender.
Surrender, it's all about surrendering and accepting. Because you accept something doesn't mean you like it, but accepting life's terms and just going with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a constant journey. Yeah. It's always evolving.
I just think it's amazing you're doing this podcast. And I don't know why you invited me to be on it. I'm so flattered.
Of course, you just said all the reasons why. Your whole story is the reason. It's perfect. Yeah. And I love you, Meredith, so much. And thank you for being here today. I know everybody who listened will be super inspired.
Thanks,
so
Nancy.
For you. Yeah. All right. Guys, thanks for tuning in today. And we're all grateful for Meredith. And we will see you next time. Bye. Thanks. Thanks so much for listening to She Laughs. If this episode encouraged you, would you share it with a friend who might need a little courage or a reminder that she's not alone? Every share helps more women find their inner cool girl and kick fear to the curb. You can find links to our guests, watch full episodes on YouTube, and connect with me on social at She Laughs Podcast Official, all in the show notes. And remember, the dream inside of you means something. Take the first step. Be brave. God's got your back. And girl, you've got this.